Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new video series I'm doing for the channel, and it is Warmachine Battle Reports. And I can tell you, I see a lot on YouTube that people are doing battle reports, so I thought, why don't I give it a try. Today's match is for 30 points and the scenario is MOSH PIT, so let's take a look at my friend Rich's army of Cryx. He took a Warmaster Necrotech, Montenbra and Danielis. He took a Slayer, Death Ripper, Scavenger, Malice, and units of Mechana Thralls, Brute Thrall, Bloat Thrall, all those Thralls, and Machine Wraith, etc, etc. What I took, because I play for Khador, I took the Butcher, Beasto Knight, a Juggernaut, Shock Troopers, full unit of Winter Guard with Joe, the Officer, Standard Bearer, oh, and a Field Gunner. So let's get straight into our deployment. Here's our table. And as you can see, I lost the dice roll. It was 6-5, and Rich was kind enough to let me go. Yeah, I know, of course, but that always seems to be my downfall now and then. So I set up my Field Gunner on the hill, everything pretty tight. As you can see, a nice wall of death over there by the Winter Guard. Rich kind of gone with a similar format of just pretty much one straight line of death. And we'll come right back with turn 1. Okay, turn 1. I have 6 focus on Butcher, so I put 1 on the Juggernaut and keep 5 for myself. Well, for the Butcher, really. And then I cast 2 for Iron Flesh, and I cast it on the Winter Guard, which gives them a +3 defense, but it gives them -1 speed. But I can tell you now, that's definitely something you need to do. Then I moved him up. Any Warcaster for Khador that has Iron Flesh is always very nice. I then activated the Juggernaut, spending the 1 focus. I ran him towards the MOSH PIT. Even though he doesn't have command, I need to get something in there quick. I then activated Beasto 9 and also ran him up because he's got heavy boiler. It doesn't cost a focus to run, so my jacks are slowly getting into the MOSH PIT. I then activated Joe and gave the speech Courage of the Forefathers, giving the Winter Guard Fearless and Tough for 1 round, and then I moved him up. Joe is someone you need to take, especially if you have the Winter Guard, trust me. Whether it be a unit, the Mortar, the Field Gunner, whatever. He's lovely. Okay, and then I moved the Winter Guard up. I ran them for 10 inches due to the minus for the speed. And yeah, what can I say? They are going to look very nasty. Hopefully they'll take out those Mechana Thralls all the way over there. Look at that line of death, you've got to love it. I then walked up the Field Gunner, and that was the end of my turn. Rich's turn. Okay, with Montenbra, she has 7 focus, so Rich allocated 1 to the Scavenger, 1 to the Slayer, and 1 to Malice, and 1 to the Death Ripper, and kept 3 for herself. He then decided to run the Machine Wraith up. This thing's nasty, especially for 1 point. It can take over non-character jacks. So, yeah, I need to get him off the board really quick. He then moved up the Scrap Thralls. These guys are the exploding things. Very nasty. Big AoEs if they explode. So I need to get them off the board quick as well. He then moved his Mechana Thralls with the unit attachment of the Brute Thrall and moved them up to combat and stop my Winter Guard. These guys have a really nice 2 attacks, trust me. These guys are bread and butter for Cryx, I think. I'll take them if I had a Cryx list. Okay, then he moves up the Bloat Thrall. This guy is a mortar kind of character, and he just moves it up, ready to shoot at the Winter Guard next turn, I think. He then activated Malice, and he ran, spending the 1 focus that he allocated to her, but he keeps the soul token that it starts the game with. He then ran up the Necrotech behind Malice just to repair it if it gets hurt. He then activates the Scavenger, spending the 1 focus to make it run, and just plops it behind the Machine Wraith. He then activates the Slayer, spending 1 focus to run it, and he's just going to hide it just behind the wall, so not currently in the MOSH PIT, but getting there. He then activates the Death Ripper, also spending the 1 focus to make it run towards the MOSH PIT. He then activates Danielis and moves him up, and he's a spell slave, so he casts Spectral Steel on the Slayer. That gives him +2 armor and Ghostly, so that wall will no longer be a problem for that Slayer. Very, very nasty indeed. And then Rich moved up Montenbra, just walks her up and casts Spectral Steel with the remaining focus he has on Malice, also giving him +2 armor and all that jazz. That's the end of turn 1. As you can see, it is looking very nasty, especially with Warmachine. Turn 1 is always normal. Basically, it's movement, get your troops up the board fast and quick, and as you can see by the figures, we're about to engage possibly in turn 2, and it's going to get nasty really quick, trust me. Okay, turn 2 for Khador. I upkept Iron Flesh on the Winter Guard, and I put one focus on Beast 09 and another on the Juggernaut. I then activated the Man of War, which I forgot to do last turn, and moved them up for keeping them in Shield War, giving them a base armor of 21. Very nasty. I then activated the Field Gunner to shoot at the Scrap Thrall. So I have to roll to hit. I hit it, and it's instantly destroyed, but the AoE didn't do any damage to anything else. Okay, so then I activated Covenant Joe, gave the command for the Motherland, giving the Winter Guard boosted attack rolls and moved them up. And then the Winter Guard moved them up and did some spraying. Trust me, this is going to be nasty, and as you can see, took out the Brute Thrall and all the Mechana Thralls. Very nasty, the Winter Guard. Then I just moved up the Juggernaut into the Mosh Pit, ready to countercharge whatever is going to happen. Then I moved up the Butcher, and then I moved up the Beast 09, hopefully to get it. End of turn 2 for me. Okay, Rich's turn. Mortenbra keeps 5 focus and gives 1 to Malice, and upkeep Spectral Steel on Malice also. Rich activates the Bloat Thrall first, and that is going to shoot the Winter Guard. And he rolls, and he misses, unfortunately. But with an AoE 5, he's probably going to clip something. So he rolls and gets a 4, and then a 6, so it goes 6 inches back, but it clips one of the Winter Guard. And let's just say, yeah, that's definitely a kill. So one Winter Guard is down. He then activates Malice, and he charges into the Winter Guard. He knows he needs to get rid of that, seeing all those Mechana Thralls gone. Sees what is coming, he hits, and because of the power of the weapon, another Winter Guard has fallen. Very, very nasty indeed. He then activates the rest of the Mechana Thralls, and they charge in to the Winter Guard to hold those guys from flanking him, and they get 2 attacks each. Nothing, and yeah, he was really unlucky with his dice rolls, needing a 12. But then he moves the Death Ripper in to the Mosh Pit, lines him up right next to the Juggernaut. He then activates a Scrap Thrall and charges into the Juggernaut and explodes him. He hits and does 4 points of damage to column 5. Very, very nasty, those exploding things, like I said before. He then activates the Machine Wraith and will run him into the Mosh Pit. We're getting very dangerous with him. He then activates the Scavenger, and he'll walk it towards the Field Gunner. And then he acts Daenerys. He walks him up and then casts Spectral Steel on the Slayer again. And then the Slayer will just walk up, and just to protect him. He then activates the Necrotech, and he's just going to walk up just behind Malice. And then he moves Mortenbra up and casts Void Gate through the Death Ripper, because it's an arc node on Beast 09, and it hits, and it cannot be allocated focus next turn, and it takes a 13 blast hit, does 1 damage to Beast 09. Okay, the overall look after turn 2. As you can see, the Winter Guard have taken out most of the Mechana Thralls, but Malice has gone over there to contest it, and the Mosh Pit is slowly filling up. As you can see, Rich's army is really taking a pounding, and so is mine. Mine's held up by Malice, but we'll see how it goes. And guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Watch part 2, as the link is below here, and also on that nice little thumbnail thing. Hopefully you've enjoyed this, and you'll be watching part 2. What more can I say? To see if Khador or Cryx wins.